everybody, and welcome to Laughing Without Fear. This is Jaywoo,
And this is.
and we are so excited to be back.
Ooh, it's only been, 2 weeks? But it feels like a long time. Two
Yeah,
weeks it's a long time.
it did feel like a while. We also
Well,
recorded a week before we released it though too.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Ugh. Well, I just love getting together. It's my
Yeah.
favorite part of the week. It truly is.
I know, I'm so excited. Okay, do you want to tell them what we're talking about today?
Yes, of course. I want to share with everyone today what we're talking about. Oh, we can't get over this bus, this train of Psalms. Psalm 46:10. Just
So
so good. Yeah. Okay. So we have a different couple versions for you today.
Yeah.
Do you have your version, Jaywoo?
Yes. My version will be the NASB version, which is my preferred version. So
And go ahead.
46:10 says, "Stop striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted on the earth."
Well, that's so awesome. I have my version, which is
Yeah.
a really different one than yours, but
Okay.
not truly, obviously. But wanted to share it. Okay.
Yeah.
And mine is the NLT.
Mm-hmm.
A little different. But so the reason I'm picking the NLT is because I've been listening to the gentleman who reads to me every morning. He's so good. He's so good. I highly recommend on the Bible
Yes.
app. I will have to let you know which one, but you know when you get audiobooks and the audiobooks just comes alive if it's the right reader, like
For
if
sure.
it's the right the right narrator. It's just
Yeah.
it matters. I feel
Totally.
like that's why I'm on the NLT. I'm on in this NLT ride
Nice.
recently. Okay, so mine says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be honored by every nation. I will be honored throughout the world."
Ooh, honored. It's good.
Very different,
Such-
very different.
Also, this entire chapter, 46 in general, is really good. So we highly recommend go and read the full thing by yourself. We're just going to talk about this one little part, but all of it is amazing.
Yes. Oh, the beginning of this psalm, highly recommend. That alone, if you just read that, it's boom.
So good.
Your day is, changed already.
Totally.
Now, I know we were roommates. We've talked about this.
We were
If you
roommates.
didn't know, if you're just joining now, Jay and I were roommates. And as your previous roommate, I know you like to dig deep, and I have a sense.
Okay, do you know what they used to call me back in the day?
I'm not sure. You want to tell us?
Jessopedia.
Yes, they did.
That was one of my nicknames, which Jaywoo was also one of my nicknames, which is I received while living in this house with Izzy.
That's right. That's right. So
Yes.
I have a feeling that just Petey came through
Yes, I did.
for this. Okay. I wasn't wrong.
I just when I was reading this, I just felt the sense like I needed to go into the historical context a little bit of the scripture, and also I have a little fun fact about this as well. So, this Psalm 46 is a song to the chief musician. It says a song of the sons of Korah. And Korah was, if you remember, part of the Israelites, but he was one of the ones that defied and rebelled against Moses. And when the earth opened up and swallowed them, he was one of the people that got swallowed.
Just swallowed.
Yes.
I had to do that.
It was great. That was a great sound effect.
Thank you.
But his line or his family they were Levites. So they became the servants of the temple, and they were priests and things like that. So his
Yes.
family line are musicians in temple worship.
Whoa. I'm not musical, but I bet some of you are very musical. Yeah.
Yes. And one person, I was reading commentaries on it. One person who says, it looks like it's Adam Clark, says that concerning this, that it sounds like it says an ode upon Alamoth. It says, or that also means, or concerning the virgins, which means that's possibly a choir of girls that are doing this song.
So cool.
Yeah.
These ladies are just singing. Just imagine that choir of ladies right? Singing this to you. Yeah. Sounds amazing. Definitely a different narrator now when I think about it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that information.
Yes.
Digging deep.
Well, I have one other thing I wanted to say about it too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I found out in my digging that also this was a favorite psalm of Martin Luther.
Whoa.
I know.
Oh, so is this the OG Martin Luther? OG?
Yes. So Martin Luther, if you don't know or just don't remember, he is basically the father of the Protestant Reformation. So he was like late 1400s to the early 1500s. He was a friar in the Catholic Church. And he started, he was doing preaching and stuff like that. And he started thinking, like, reading the Bible and saying, you know what, actually, we're saved through grace, not through our own efforts. And he started speaking out against this, about it, and started speaking against the Catholic Church. And so he got excommunicated. But he also then translated the Bible into German because he wanted everybody to be able to read the Bible. So he wanted it in the common tongue. And yeah, so he's like the father of a Protestant Reformation. And
yeah,
this was one of his favorite psalms. And he even has a famous quote that says, like, when his darkest moments were happening, he would be like, "Come, let's sing Psalm 46 and let the devil do his worst." Which I think is like so hardcore,
Yeah, the fact that he was just so unafraid. Let's just sing this song and go on, is wow.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. I think, yeah, he was from Germany. I love that he translated it first, and the thought of translating it to other tongues was a big deal.
Totally.
That's cool. Well, thanks for that, Jessipedia.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to.
Okay.
Amazing. So, Izzy, I have a question for you. Oh. Well, first of all, let's look at the scripture here. And what is it that when you were like praying and like looking at it, what did you get out of this?
I think the part that really stood out is being still. Mm-hmm. I think as a new mom, it's hard to be still. I think as a millennial that is on my phone, as a person who likes to be active, who, if you're an Enneagram person, people would probably classify me as a 7. It's hard for me to be still.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to be still and kind of relish sometimes, because I had a friend who just came back from Italy, and she's like, one of my favorite things about traveling abroad sometimes is how people, and maybe this is just in other places, but they seem like at cafes, no one's unhurried,
Yeah.
It's kind of unpopular to just sit down and engage and be in the moment and stay still and not look at your phone. What am I going to do the next thing? What's going on later? And those are common questions we ask a lot when we're even hanging out with friends. It's like, well, what do you got going after this? Like, we're already thinking about the next thing.
Right.
But this verse is saying, be still and know that I am God. And when I broke it down for myself is it really hit me when I'm still, what I kind of equate it to is to being in with God, in abide mode, just abiding in him, and kind of that picture of being planted and being part of the vine and just staying close, where he's just producing in you, and not a lot of things can happen if I don't abide. Like, I'm not my best self if I'm not abiding. And I'm not able to trust God if I'm not abiding, because I'm out of that circle of abiding, and I'm yeah, that got me. And when I think about that word of also, I didn't do Gisapedia mode, but I did. My husband is Jewish, and
Yeah.
he has sometimes some really good insight on kind of doing the root, what's the root of that one word in Hebrew. And so I
Right.
looked up the root of kind of knowing, and I guess it's the synonym of actually studying in Hebrew. It's like the same verb of studying. So like being still. So like in my mind, I was like, if I abide and study God, like when do I do that? And or it makes me really think about when I do those things is God is being honored. Like God, it says that like, I will be honored by every nation. Like I love that it's an all in one verse. Like when we
Right.
do those things, people get the best of us
Right.
and people know, and God is honored. I think it's such a cool concept.
Yeah.
Sometimes we try to do so much as being plugged into
Right.
the church. Like, where do we want to
Right.
serve? We want to do all these things. But it's like at home, if I abide, if I'm doing these things and I'm plugged into God and study Him, when I'm outside, it just comes naturally. It
Right.
just flows. It's
Right.
like it's going to overflow. Yeah.
No, that's really
That's
good.
what I got out of it. Yeah. Studying, which that's again, that's the only thing I did. I went in, I'm like, what's the word? What does this mean in Hebrew? Like, what's the root of the word knowing in Hebrew? So
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can compare to. Gisapedia puts me in shame.
Oh no, I don't know about that. I just read a couple commentaries.
Nice.
When I was reading through, one of the parts that really stuck out to me was the part about. It was also the part about the be still and know that I am God part. So one of the things that it says, like this commentary that I read said, was that the be still part is not necessarily meant to be like an activity. Like it's not telling you to stand in one place. It's a sense more that you shouldn't be opposing God, or like you shouldn't be trying to argue with God, but recognize that His glory and His greatness. And another part, like this said, that I know that I am God part, it's like a submission. It's like a submission to God and not objecting or opposing His divine sovereignty.
Wow.
And I
Not
and I
opposing
thought,
is a big one.
yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I think it talks about how He will be exalted in the nations. So you're basically saying, like, He's saying, don't oppose me, like, chill out, like, get out of my way. I am God, I am sovereign, and I will be exalted in the nations. And I think it's also like, before you look in prior to the entire chapter, it talks about how God is our refuge and He is our strength and all of that. So it's kind of like a reminder that like one person, or like even people aren't going to stop God's sovereignty in the nations. And I think that's really helpful to hold on to, especially when you see, because it talked about also previously in this chapter about like war ceasing and all these other things. And you're thinking like, man, all this stuff is happening, and what is God going to do, or how is He going to do it if all these people are, opposing Him, or even the way that He, operates. But it's kind of a reminder that He doesn't need us in order to have His will be done, if that makes sense. Like He likes to
Yes.
use us, we co-labor with Him, but He's still a sovereign God, and He still rules over the nations. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just a comforting reminder, like He's got everything. Like we don't have to strive, we don't have to worry. We just, got to let Him do His thing.
Yes. I love the picture of a refuge, like
Yeah.
having to know that's a place where you could go and stay there and strengthen yourself, be surrounded by
Right.
security. You know that in a refuge you're gonna be fine. I
Right.
just think that picture makes a lot of sense. Is there been a time where you felt that security in the Lord recently, or a time that you're like, oh, I remember feeling like so, refuge by the Lord and secured by the Lord?
Yeah, there's a couple of specific times, and they have to do with me doing missions. Um, Two specific instances that really stick out to me. So I happened to be in Lebanon when the current war broke out, I guess, between, there's lots of major parties happening in the Middle East, but you know what I'm talking about. And so I was in Lebanon when that all started again. And in fact, our team actually ended up evacuating to Germany. Um, and quite suddenly, right after we got to Germany, they were like, "Hey, we need you to go back." Because there was some students who couldn't come with us because they weren't able to get visas. And so they needed someone to be there for the students. And so I said, you know what? I prayed about it and I really felt like God is going to be with me. I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to be worried. He's got me. And I really felt in that moment like there was no fear. In fact, people are like, "Are you sure you don't want to wait till after this or after this?" Like specific things that were going to happen that could potentially escalate the war. And I was like, "No, I don't. If the Lord's telling me to go, I don't need to worry." And I was totally fine. So
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
thankful. I'm thankful for that.
That is a vivid example. Seriously. In the
Yeah.
midst of war. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
having to know that he's your refuge.
Yeah,
So fun.
absolutely.
Whoa. Go ahead. You were gonna say something, I
Well,
think.
I was going to ask you a question too. And it's funny because my question was actually kind of similar to what your question was. So, so I said, my question is, when is there a time in your life when you were struggling, but you needed to remain confident that God was, like the Lord reminded you that He was your strong tower?
I think I remember in school,
Mm-hmm.
when I came to Seattle for the first time, I had felt that I just didn't fit in. I didn't feel that this place was just a place for me learning anymore. I just
Mm-hmm.
felt totally disoriented coming to a new city, coming to a new school, transferring over,
Mm,
having to start over with new friends.
yeah.
And I remember my strong tower being the Lord in times where it sounds silly, but I remember looking at folks at the lunch table and
Mm, mm-hmm.
thinking like, oh, like God is here, like right
Yeah.
now in this moment. Like he's not just at church back home in Walla Walla.
Right.
He's not just totally, gone in one place. He doesn't only stay in one place. Like
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was called there, so I knew there was a reason why I'd come here, and I really did feel at times that I wasn't gonna go if God wasn't there.
Mm,
And I had to grab on to knowing that God was gonna be someone I could lean on truly,
mm-hmm.
not people, not my education, but
Right.
knowing that God was that secure place I could run to and know that He was there. Like if He'd called me there, He wasn't just gonna, it might have felt at times that it was kind of a barren place for me because
Mm-hmm.
was starting over. It's like when you start into garden, you don't, it's just barren. But I knew I was called there to bear fruit at some point in my life. And now I look back now and I'm like 10 years later, I
Mm-hmm.
am literally bearing fruit, like I
Right.
have my
Totally.
life here and my baby, and that's like the
Yeah.
fruit of it all. But, but there's other things, right? Like there's those friendships that I never thought I would be able to do ministry with.
Right.
And then we're, doing things and serving our community. And that's the fruit
Mm-hmm.
that I think God had in mind. But in that
Right.
moment, I was like, I'm so like, I only thought about the now, the in the moment, right? I didn't think about
Mm-hmm.
how much He really was a strong tower in sometimes. But then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. I have to speak that over myself and know that He is God. So
Right.
those are good reminders. That was a
So
good
good.
memory. Yeah, taking me back to memory lane, back at the UW.
Yes.
So fun. Yes.
Such good times.
Well, I know. But I am just glad that we get to talk about God being our strength too, and getting together. And I think one of the versions we came across was, it's kind of silly, but this CJB Bible, which is the complete Jewish Bible. I was just like doing different versions, and my favorite was supreme over the nations and supreme over the earth, like kind of like this. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
I love the word supreme. Like,
yeah.
Supreme fries, supreme drink.
The Supremes.
The Supremes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was fun.
No, that is fun.
But yes. So what is our little challenge? Do you want to tell us our little challenge of the week?
Yes. So as we reflected on times in our life when we needed to have God be our strong tower, I think it would be so good for people to go and reflect on the times when they were struggling and they went to the Lord and he was their strong tower. And I think also it just makes me want to come to the Lord with thanksgiving and thankfulness. And I think that we should all take a moment to do that, because honestly, he is the protector. He is the one we turn to when we need anything. And so we can just be thankful for all that he's brought us through and all that he's protected us from. And so, just take a moment to think about a time in your life when the Lord was your strong tower and just give him some thanksgiving.
I like the Thanksgiving part a lot. Yes. Such a good challenge of this week.
Yeah. Speaking of, we didn't actually do this at the beginning, which we normally do, but what is something that you're thankful for this week, Izzy?
This week, I know that, again, I think mine are really silly all the time, but I am really, really thankful that this week, Jonah, actually my husband, was able to come home and be super sweet. He actually made dinner like one of the days, and it was super nice. I know it sounds silly because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm usually like,
yes,
I got this. Then he was like, no, let me do it.
Love like, that.
Oh, what?
Yes.
I will take it any day.
Totally.
Yeah.
That is a great thing to be thankful for.
I know. So this is silly, but he's probably not gonna. Well, he will appreciate this. Okay. We have a name for him in the house when he's cooking his meals. He has a special name, Chef Seto, which means Chef Zero. Obviously, you're probably like wondering, where did this come from? Well, one time we were over at my sister-in-law's and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna have some tacos. We're gonna do like." Put some veggies here, there, and then Jonah was just switching it up, and he's commanding everyone. Like, you chop the onion, you do this, you do, and so we're like, "All right, chef." And so that's where it started, because he wasn't really doing anything; he was just kind of commanding. But he was like, "Oh, let me just switch up the menu." Like he was like some great chef coming in, and so sometimes I like love the fact that he has some cooking skills. I actually do think that. Yeah, but when we first met, it was definitely bachelor meals, like protein powder.
Yes. Nice.
He had some things up his sleeve, but yeah, most of it was good smoothies, which I still appreciate. But
there you go.
I was thankful for that. What are you thankful for this week?
I think that I'm thankful that I'm not alone. I don't have to do life alone. I have a community. I have people who love and care about me, and I am thankful for that. This week, I got to go to the movies. I went to the new Bridget Jones movie with Maurits's female family members. So we did like a little girls' night, which I thought was so fun. And yeah, it's just so fun because obviously I'm still technically a newlywed, so being accepted and invited into another person's family is still new to me, But I just love and that they just love me and invite me to things and that I get to have people around me, I don't know, I'm just thankful for that.
Yes, I love that. And the fact that you got to watch a movie.
Yeah, true.
That's so fun too. I'm
Yeah.
like, I would be
Also,
thankful for that.
no, it was such a fun night, and we went out to like eat, and then we went out afterwards. It was like really great. It was a really fun time.
Girls night.
It
Girls
was.
night.
It was a girls' night.
What is that song that I just love? Girls just wanna have fun. That was song.
Yes,
I'm
Cyndi
not a
Lauper.
good singer, clearly. Yeah, 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 yeah. But that's
Classic.
one of my favorites. Yeah, isn't I feel like most folks play it at a wedding, and I just love it. It's my favorite. It's a good wedding for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I just let loose.
It's just a good party song in general.
Agreed. Yeah. Ugh. Just the good old. Is that 70s, 80s?
80s.
80s. Yeah, the hair. Hey, I was born in the 90s. I'm not that far off.
Hey, no judgment.
I
I
just
also
knew-
was born in the 90s.
There you go. Yay. Well, thanks for tuning in today.
Yes.
How fun.
Thank you for joining
just love
us. We love you guys so
Yes.
much. We will be back in 2 weeks with another podcast.
Yes. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.